Story that's in the Wimbledon Guardian this week says unacceptable crowding and severe staff shortages inside Wandsworth Prison. Wandsworth, South London, biggest prison in Britain, Category B prison. An absolute damning report that the Ministry of Justice have put out this week, showing the risk of violence in there. Prisoners are locked in their cells for 23 hours a day, just 15 minutes of exercise. It's unacceptably overcrowded, severe staffing shortages, and almost every service at the prison was judged as unacceptable. I suspect, as you say, that this is happening across the board. We know that overcrowding in prisons is a really serious issue. It's interesting, actually, the new Justice Secretary, Michael Gove, perhaps belying his reputation, has made noises in recent weeks since his appointment that he finds this unacceptable. He talks a lot more about rehabilitation and education in prisons than his predecessor did. But certainly situations like this are not tenable. The very first comment, as you kind of expect on these kind of stories, left on the website, somebody just saying, well, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. I don't, you know, whether that adds anything to the argument, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I mean, a difficult situation because obviously London has an ageing set of prisons. These prisons,
absolutely. Wandsworth built in Victorian times.
Yeah, and so perhaps not quite fit for purpose anymore. Let's move on to something which has really rattled people this week. This is over in East London.
Yeah, this is a story that's it's gone all over the place, actually, although credit to the Docklands and East London Advertiser had it first, splashed on it this week. So a museum that's just opened up at Cable Street in the East End. Now, initially, when the planning application went into Tower Hamlets Council, it was described as a museum recognising and celebrating the women of the East End who've shaped history, and the application included pictures of suffragettes, campaigners against racist murders around Brick Lane. This week, the facade of the museum has been made public, and it's called the Jack the Ripper Museum. And inevitably this has not gone down very well at all. It's a very garish looking museum, huge typography, Jack the Ripper Museum, big skull and crossbones, because obviously you think of the Ripper and you associate it with pirate insignia. And it's, you know, it has gone down very badly because it's not what it was set out to be. It's on Cable Street, which is not an area with any connection particularly to the Ripper, who carried out his murders predominantly in the Whitechapel area. Now, the Advertiser did approach the museum to ask what was going on. They wouldn't say anything. I actually told them that if he took a photograph of the front of the shop, they'd call the police. Right. On what basis, I'm not sure. But it has caused a lot of consternation locally. I
mean, the thing is, I think if actually they'd come out and said initially this was going to be a Jack the Ripper museum, I think people would have just said, well, fair enough. But actually the fact that they'd promised it to be this museum celebrating women and then gone completely the other way.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and that's what comes through from the comments from local people. I think if they had just fronted up and said, you know, we're opening a Jack the Ripper museum, look at the tourist potential, I think people would probably have just accepted. But as it is, it does seem peculiarly offensive to say it's going to celebrate the achievements of women and it's marking a murder of women.
OK, we're going to go to the Ham and High next, and a story which I think will certainly make a few people go,
Yeah, absolutely. This is the splash on the Broadway edition of this week's Ham and High, which covers Crouch End and Muswell Hill. We know, probably because it keeps coming up when I come in here to talk about the local base, the challenges facing councils at the moment in London with the cuts from central government. So Haringey Council has decided now is the time to spend £65,000 getting a new logo. It's going to cost £40,000 on research and commissioning agencies, which is a huge figure, really, and then £25,000 on top of that for what they call implementation costs, which is basically, you know, changing the signs and the stationery, pay slips, etc. And actually, this has gone down again very, very badly. Mary Langham, who leads the Save Autism Services campaign, and autism services are being cut in the borough, so it's astonishing that the council's cutting these frontline services and can find the money to design a new logo. Harrow Council asked why, give a wonderful local government response, which is, we want Haringey's brand to better express the unique attitude, ambitions and aspirations of local residents, businesses and the council. Well, I mean, that's not what local people are saying. I think they probably just wrong. This is it. I mean, it needs to be translated, really. It's very much in councilese. I think most people would probably, that money was put into frontline services rather than a new logo. I think they can probably live with the one they've got, which was only rebranded in 2007.
Yeah, you've said it all, haven't you? I'm going to leave it there. Finally, now, this is something that I didn't know, but Superman, not only... SpiderMan. I do this all the time with my superheroes. Don't get that wrong. SpiderMan not only is he in Croydon, but he's also got kids.
Yes, I mean, fans of the Spider-Man oeuvre will probably not realise that, firstly, he does have 2 children, and secondly, he chooses to shop at the 99p store in Croydon. I mean, it's not really a story, this, but it's something that the Croydon Advertiser, which is where we're taking it from, has had a great deal of fun with this week. Well, one reader tweeted a wonderful picture, actually, of a man in the complete Spider-Man outfit, face covering and everything, and his 2 children likewise as Spider-Man in the 99p store in Croydon. They put it on their Facebook page, and it's absolutely taken off with local people.
It's a time of austerity, and even superheroes have to watch their wallets.
Well, actually, the best comment on this comes from one of their readers, Kirsty Elliott, who says, "You'd think he'd do his shopping on the web." No, I understand that I haven't seen the print edition of this week's Croydon Advertiser, which I think goes on sale today, and they've got the full story of who this guy is.
Right.
I don't know if he's kind of Fathers for Justice thing, because that's their outfit of choice, isn't it? Superheroes. I don't think there's any suggestion of that. But certainly a lot of people seeing this on Facebook have spotted him all over Croydon over the past few months.
I'm not sure I want to know who the real Spider-Man is. Matt Withers, as always, from Arch Media, thank you for your take on the best stories from the local papers this week.